Yeah. Lovely. Do you want me to wait until the light's on? There it is. There it is. So I guess at any time. Do you start the timer? Yeah. Okay. Yep. Okie dokie. Let's get this started. So hello everyone. I am Heneko. Most people just call me Joe. And this is Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time. Came out in 2003. And recently, as most recently as February, the game got kind of broken. We found a type of glitch that lets us skip a lot of things in the run. However, the first 5 or so minutes are basically done as intended. So there's a few movement things here and there, like just then. There's a small wall run that I did that saved about 5 or so seconds over the intended route. And I'll be doing some things like breaking barrels in precise ways. My control stick is acting kind of funny, but we will carry on. It's kind of worried. Never mind. That might actually cause a problem later, but hopefully it doesn't. So the last time this run was done at a big marathon like GDQ was actually by Maikuyama at the old GDQs. It was done, the last time I think was 2012. But back then obviously the glitch hadn't been found. He actually had the world record at the time with a 1:40.29. And the world record for the game now, I think, is 47 minutes, so it shaved a hell of a lot of time off. I don't know what's going on with my control stick. It's stopping me from running at certain points. Hopefully it's not too much of an issue. So just there. A little something you can do. The game should play like a cutscene, but instead you can mess with the camera. It doesn't save any time, but you know, looks funky. So what I'm gonna have to do to combat the control stick is I'm gonna have to do most of my turns via the camera movement as opposed to the actual the prince's movement. So hopefully it shouldn't be too bad. I think I can compensate for it. But if I don't, I'll probably blame everything on the run on that. So gives me an excuse, you know. But it should be okay.
Shall I continue my story from here?
Frustrating is, for some reason, even though this game does have controller support, none of the menuing has any controller support, which means unless you're using like an external program like Joy to Key or something, you're not actually able to. Activate the menus via the controller. By the way, I do actually use the controller for this game, even though it's kind of been proven that the world record and pretty much just the most optimal way in general is to use keyboard and mouse for zips. That was a bit of a close jump. The only reason why basically is just personal preference. There's some certain things you can do, like you can bind walking forwards. You can bind walking forwards to the mouse wheel, which lets you take a lot of steps very quickly. So yes, I got that. What I did just there is probably the first like real trick in the run. I got first try, which is actually really hard to do. It's a deceivingly hard jump, but it was all okay, so that's good. Something that's quite funny is for the longest time, people used to pick up the dagger there because they didn't actually realise they could skip it. But you don't actually need to watch. You don't need to pick up that dagger. Actually, I think I might have actually not hit the trigger there. Let me have a look. Okay, no, I think I did hit the trigger. But yeah, no. For the longest time, it was only until very recently a member called Hinafu found that you don't even need to pick up the dagger, which saves about 20 seconds. In any percent, it would save more, but even though we have the dagger now in this cutscene, normally you'd have sand already in the dagger, but because we skipped that dagger, we don't have any sands, as you can see in the top left-hand side. So we're going to take 2 from these guys.
Prince, use the dagger.
I'm getting some nice tutorials telling me how to do it. So this is where the run gets kind of crazy. We're basically just going to hump the wall for a bit until that guy hits me. Now I do want to be careful here because I can actually void out, but I'm not going to. So that looks a bit weird, but what we did there is we abuse the rewind system because it's very easily abusable. It's a bit of a surprise really that this glitch was actually only found as recent as this year. Especially when there were, at one point during 2011 and 2012, actually quite a few people that did actually run the game.
All our entourage and I should have passed the night.
So, let me just make sure this works. There you go.
Guest rooms.
Oh, it didn't work. That's okay. It's only a few seconds.
That's not
I must have moved incorrectly. But yeah, no, as I was saying, it's quite strange that it didn't actually get found. Because it's really just as simple as making a lot of movements to overload the rewind system. Because what we do is we put in a bunch of inputs. So the actual number that we put in is 18. 18 separate inputs. And then the game, once it gets past that, gets very confused. And for some reason adds on a ton of acceleration to whatever movement you've been previously doing. That's how I was able to, jump really, really high in the air just then, and it's also how I was able to zip through the gate at the beginning. Because when you do that, you have no collision, which means you're able to go through stuff pretty easily. This next section's kind of done as intended, so there's not much to do. Yeah, no worries, go for it. Thank you, George. Oh God. Okay, I love you too. Hopefully I can get one out, but maybe not. Could Sphere MJ please wave and give a wink to the camera? To the camera. That's for Toka. Okay, so this is one of the more complicated ones. So hopefully I didn't overstep here. If I did, it's a little bit of a problem, but it is fixable if I play it correctly. We should be good though. This should be able to just play out as intended. So what I do there is I go really, really far forwards. The reason why is because if I didn't, for some reason, the trigger to load this room is located miles and miles outside the hallway. So I need to zip out to the trigger, but I also need to get back, which is what the backflip is for. And then I mix that in with another dagger to get into the second corridor, which also skips a 40-second cutscene. So what I do there is I kill myself because if I didn't, the next area, because we got to this bit really unexpectedly quickly for the game, if I didn't kill myself, then the next bit of the game wouldn't load because the game doesn't realize where I am exactly. Okay, so I skip that sand cloud. Now this can actually go quite wrong. Hopefully it goes okay though. So. At some points I might be a little bit silent because I'm trying to concentrate on making sure I count the right amount of steps, which, funnily enough, I managed to not do there, but it's okay. It's fine. So I'm Saves a little bit of time to make it all in one zip, but instead we can do it in two. It's no problem. So we can roll over these traps because we skipped that room, which is actually a really annoying room. If you ever play the category called zipless, which is without all these crazy tricks, you have to do that room as intended, and unfortunately it's one of the most boring puzzles in the world. It's not hard, it's just exceptionally tedious. But we get to skip it, so that's fine. That's all hunky-dory. We're having a bit of a weird camera moment there. It's just a little bit far back, I'm going to go a bit forward. So yeah, sometimes, like then, I will make sure that I put in, I'll make sure that I'll put in 19 steps just to make sure, because on controller, it's possible to drop some inputs by accident, just because of how the game is wired. My voice is just echoing around the room. So that little backtrack bit there that we did, that's because obviously we skipped a large section of this game. This whole courtyard we basically skipped, but if we went to if we carried on like we are now, and we carried on towards the top, the next room wouldn't be loaded, so we had to backtrack just to hit the trigger. That might not work. Yeah, I didn't think it would. I was a little bit ballsy there, honestly. That's okay, we'll just wait for the cycle. It's nothing too bad. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll wait for the cycle again. So I only have 2. This should be okay. Just need to make sure that I do this. I'm going to take this pretty slowly, honestly. So I'm going to zip into a cutscene here. And it's also a checkpoint, which means that if I die, I can just go back to this point, which is nice and easy. Yep, no worries.
You only have 1 cent. Isn't that a problem?
Oh, that's a big problem. Let me just think. Okay, I got an idea. So I actually messed up a minute ago. Because I rewinded twice, I did waste a bit of time. I'm going to have to do this bit as intended. Normally I would zip through the door, but it's fine. It's not too much of an issue. So we're going to draw our swords here because during this cutscene the prince manages to stab himself in the head because Ubisoft forgot to put them away during the cutscene. So yeah, normally I would zip through this, but because I wasted the sand, I'm not able to. I was hoping, honestly, we should be finishing Dad Skip at around 13, probably 11 or 12 is probably more desirable, but you know, it's not too bad. So we're going to use the same trick that we did at the very beginning of the run. Normally we'd have to fight these guys and kill my dad, but we don't have to. We're just going to sit in the corner of the room. For some reason, when you're at the edge, they all just ignore you. They seem to forget that you exist. He's just walking around, cool as can be. So this should work, I hope. Yep, so that skips the fight entirely. I'm actually going to go back in the hill, just temporarily. Didn't realise that my health was relatively low. The fact that we haven't got any sands isn't too much of an issue, because we're going to pick up one in a second. So.
I'll cover you.
Please don't. You're liable to hit me.
More donations, Joe.
Yeah, no worries.
We have $1 again from. Oh.
Don't leave me here.
Oh my. Okie dokie. So again, we're going to hump the wall. The prince does that quite a few times, honestly. He likes to hump walls. So yeah, what I'm doing now is, because I zip through this wall, it actually triggers a checkpoint. Oopsie daisy. And I'm just going to void out, because when I come back to life, I'm going to be here. Now the game gets a little bit confused here, because it thinks Farah's with me, but then when I get to here, Farah zips back outside the room. She gets a bit confused. Basically that's caused by triggering different triggers in the wrong order. So originally the game thinks she's with us, and then when we hit the top of these stairs, the game says that she should be outside. So it gets a bit confused. We have to go let her back in. There we go. Off she goes. She's going to open this door for us. Door. Which is nice of her. So you can actually skip all of this section with Farah. You don't even need to let her back in. The only problem is that if you do that, this room that we're in right now, called the warehouse, which is what the donation comment was about earlier, this is a very, very mean room, and it can crash in an absolutely staggering amount of ways. So I'm going to try quite a hard zip now. Hopefully it goes okay. If this works, I'm going to have to do this all again, but sorry, if this doesn't work, I'm going to have to do it all again. But yeah, this is quite precise, and sometimes it will mess up, and even though you did the right inputs, this is looking kind of good, honestly. We'll see how it goes. That looked perfect, so that was really good. I'm really happy that that worked. I'm pretty sure it hit the trigger as well, because it does have to hit a loading trigger. We'll find out if it hit the loading trigger in a second. We're going to go and climb up these boxes. No, we're not. We're apparently going to take a drink first. Sorry, I was thirsty. Then we're going to go over here, take the sand cloud. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. So what's quite different about the zips in this game compared to the other ones is that Sands of Time actually has an adjustable rewind speed, and because that messes around with obviously the rewind, you can actually shorten the distances of your zips by they go to about 1/4 of the original length. So it's pretty useful for certain spots. So this section here, this skips probably around 3 minutes, I want to say. Normally you'd have to do a fight. You need to do 2 separate fights, do a bit of platforming, but we don't have to do any of that because we just skip it all. That corridor down there was unloaded, so we have to go back up to that little hay stack that was on the floor and trigger the next room so that it actually loads. What we're going to do now is open this up so that we are able to get a sand cloud. Because obviously we need this. We need the sands. We're going to go back to humping walls. Need to be a little bit careful here because I accidentally rolled before I got to the wall, which sometimes if the roll gets included into the zip, we might be in trouble. But it looks like we're good. So this area is actually unloaded, and I need to be careful here. There we go. So if I walk too far upwards, I'll actually hit a cutscene, and the cutscene is obviously slow. So we don't want to go slow. We want to go fast. Got to go fast. This zip, I seem to be having quite a bit of problems with this in practice. So. Hopefully that's enough. If it's not too much of a problem, because we can just try it again. No, you see? Yeah, I don't know. I seem to be not putting in enough inputs. I must have calibrated the controller a bit differently. So this method of zipping is a little bit different to the one that we had before. If this fails, I will unfortunately have to suicide. But it looks like it's fine. There you go, lovely jubbly. So I don't have to suicide at all. So I backtrack there because it hits a loading trigger, which triggers these scarabs, which we're just going to run past. The scarabs are actually surprisingly good at getting in the way. There'll be several points through the run where I'll probably be moaning about scarabs. So we kill ourselves there to load the corridor and also to load Farah. Sometimes, during this section here they go. Okay, let's just roll past this one. Lovely. Sometimes Farah gets really stuck up on these scarabs and she wants to kill them. Hopefully she doesn't this time. Nope, she's going to follow us, which is fantastic. There have been many seconds wasted during that section. Oh, I'm going to need to retrieve the sand from one enemy. Because these enemies aren't actually... come on. There we go. Because these enemies aren't triggered to actually fight you until after the cutscene is played. That was meant to be a roll, but instead it was a jump to a pillar. They just walk around aimlessly. This next that we're doing is kind of hard. It's fine if you can get the control stick to work nice for you, so hopefully I don't have too many problems with this, but I'm actually going to change it into landscape view because then we can see when the prince jumps. So let's try again, sorry. So I actually did one too many steps there. That might might be an issue. We'll see how it goes. I have a feeling that it might be too far, but we'll see. Nope, lovely jubbly. So what kind of time is this? 22 minutes at 20 seconds sword. That's not too bad, honestly. You know, that's what I was talking about. When I just start walking out of nowhere, that's not that's not me. That's the controller, I promise. It's just the diagonal top left seems to be very unresponsive. But it's okay. We will struggle on. So because I skipped that section, I need to kill myself. Because normally Farah is meant to be in this room with you. And also you're meant to go the normal route and not the weird route. If I didn't kill myself there, the next room that I'm about to break into wouldn't be loaded. So the reason why we get the second sword is so that we can break open walls as well as doors. This section here is a little bit RNG, so I have to hope that the enemies don't spawn near me. So if they spawn near me, it's bad, but I got really good RNG, which is really nice. Basically, if there's any enemies near you, you will target them instead of the door because you don't actually get a whole lot of control over your aim in this game. Not if there's at least one enemy near you. So, okay, looks good. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to do a fast rewind dagger. So dagger is actually the longest like length zip that you can actually do. However, by fast rewinding it, it makes the length about 1/4, which is really handy. I think, I'm just trying to think about it in my head now, I think fast daggers are probably the most used zip, at least in my run. I'm pretty sure they are. I'm going to take that. Don't need to, but I'm going to zip over here. And by having it in the way... If it was in the way, instead of dagger stabbing, I would pick up the sand cloud because they are the same button. Oh. So hopefully these scarabs don't, destroy me like they were doing in practice. They would know they could counter my every move. They're sneaky. Look at him. He was going for it. Okay, no double kills, but that is more than fine. Did I kill them all? I did. So we're gonna go open up this hole because we need Farah to crawl in it. And while we wait, we're going to be messing around with the control stick to try and change the direction of the crate. Not because it's useful, but because, you know, we got to wait. Doesn't look like it's going to happen. No. Not today, folks.
Here I am.
But that's okay. Would have just been waiting for her otherwise, so. That glitch there where you can change the direction of the crate, I actually found by accident. It's, as I said, it's useless. It has no function whatsoever, but you know, adds a little bit of flair. It's actually triggered. I didn't actually, because I did it by accident, I didn't know how it was created or recreated. But a runner by the name of Epic Dude Guy, or Robbie, he found out that it was all to do with if you press that button. He found out if you trigger if you activate first-person view while changing the direction of the camera, and then for some reason the direction of the block changes with you. So we have to hope that Farah follows us here. Hopefully she does, and she's going to, which is fantastic. Sometimes, again, she can get a bit hung up on enemies. She likes to fight. She's a fighter. Just gonna go through this door. So this zip goes over the top of a cutscene, and all of these enemies, just like the room before, all these enemies should be attacking us, but instead they're just going to walk around hopelessly, while Farah shoots arrows mercilessly at them. They won't do anything though, because they don't have any collision of any sort. I think you might be able to vault over them actually, but yeah, there she goes. She just wants to fight. Even though these enemies can't attack, the game gets confused when you leave Farah alone in a room with enemies. So we're going to trick the game into thinking we're in the room. Not like that, because the game thought I was out of the room. So yeah, the game thinks we're now in the room. We're going to go straight into a cutscene, which the game then forgets about Farah entirely. And we can move around without her dying, which is always nice. So I'm going to do 2 fast daggers over the top of here. I'm quite low on sands, so I'm going to have to do some killing with some enemies that will spawn now. Get some cheeky double kills. No double kills today. Well, I have one more chance. No, not today. Basically, getting a double kill. Okay, we got one. We're not going to take his sand, but we got one. That's good enough. I'll take it. The chances of it happening are pretty much entirely random. You can set up the enemies to do it, but it's actually probably slower to set the enemies up in a position to double kill rather than just constantly attacking them anyway. So because we forgot Farah back in the room a while ago, we're just going to kill ourselves now because we miss her and we want to see her back. And as you'll see right now, she's down in that corner. You can't actually see her, but yeah, when we reload the room from the checkpoint that we triggered, she's in the room with us, which allows us to continue unhindered. Otherwise, she would hinder us, as she is known to do. In fact, back before all these zips were found, before this glitch was found, Farah was basically the only thing that killed runs, or the main cause of killing runs. She used to kill it basically every other run, by either getting killed, or taking too much damage, or generally being annoying. So, I'm going to do a zip now over there.
More donations.
Yeah, no worries.
A dollar from JD Harlequin. Hey, Hanako.
Hey.
Visitor is waiting in the well.
Yes. Oh god. Please no.
And the dollar from Lenny. Dude, what is this zipping? It's insane. Mind blown. When is World Rookie? OPOP.
World Rookie is right now. Okay, probably not, but No, yeah, the vizier in the well, vizier in the well comment. It's somewhat of an inside joke. Basically, there's a video on the internet created by a guy who knows nothing about the game, but he claimed that you could get the last boss halfway through the game, which you unfortunately cannot. But the video he made is rather funny. If you want to find it, you could probably type into YouTube Ultimate Glitch Prince of Persia. Okay, so something funky is about to happen now, and we're going to turn invisible, just casually, and we all of a sudden are floating head and sword. The reason this happens is because the tall room that we skipped earlier, normally if you play through that room as intended, what will happen is you'll activate a cutscene, and during that cutscene the prince rips off his sleeve because it was annoying him, but we never got that. The game at that point decides to check to see if the prince has the right textures loaded, and because he doesn't know what to do, so it just lets him roam free.
With women, you need to show them your charm.
I don't know if that was the right amount of zips because I was talking over myself. Okay, yeah, it's fine. So 31 caves is actually okay. It's a relatively decent time, so we're making relatively good pace. I would say, by the way, I haven't talked about it yet, but this game is very, very, very prone to crashes. I was pretty hesitant to actually run it at marathons because it's so crash heavy. It's kind of hard to understand from watching the stream, just as obviously it hasn't crashed yet. But really, it's possible for it to crash basically in a different section every time you play the game. I know for a fact, that was a bit funky, I know for a fact that the most recent time that a crash happened and I didn't know why was yesterday. So the reason why I wanted to jump onto that log there was it skips a cutscene. This current jump coming up now is actually really hard to do because, oh, that's bad. The camera changed as I jumped. That should be okay. Yeah. So I have to go based on the prince's dust clouds that he kicks up, as opposed to his feet, like I would normally do if he wasn't invisible. It's actually kind of hard to do because you have to it's more of a guessing game. Obviously there's some intuition in it as well, but yeah, this whole section where you are the invisible prince, it unfortunately doesn't last forever. It is sort of hard to do the platforming. You do get used to it after a while though. The dust clouds that he makes at his feet are, to be fair, more than enough. If you're sort of competent at the game, which I'm not, as apparently I turned back on myself there. This whole cave section is done pretty much as intended as well. There's no skips here. Or there are, but none that I'm going to try in a marathon setting because they're very, very risky. That's why, by the way, some of you who might know about the world record, or even if you don't know about the world record is obviously 47 minutes. My estimate for the game is 120, which is very far off. But basically the reason is there are a ton of zips that can just straight up ruin the run, and if you don't get them, it's basically the run over, right? So obviously that's not very good to do in a marathon setting, so I'm including as many zips as I can in the most safe way that I can, as well as also using a controller. I'm doing my best.
$1 from Jacob again. Joe, we all know this one is wrecked.
Thanks. If none of you, if someone's watching and they've never checked out the run before, I would really encourage actually going and watching the world record, just because there's so many crazy zips in that. It's a really cool video. And there's the prince, just ahead. Unfortunately, we won't have the floating head for much longer. We will up until the end of... there is a section where you have to kill yourself, and when you kill yourself, the game reloads the prints with the proper textures. Obviously, it could happen before then as well, if I'm playing particularly bad, but hopefully I'm doing okay. Bats are one of the most annoying things about the game. They're not too bad here, because you just attack the wall and you kill them anyway. But there is a certain spot towards the end of the game, which, if I'm playing correctly, I won't even have to face them. But unfortunately, if I do, they've been known to kill me on more than one occasion. They're deadly, because basically one hit when you're on a ladder will make you stop gripping the ladder, which kills you instantly. You don't really have a chance to recover from it. So I'm just going to heal here. Don't really need to, but just in case. So basically from now up until there's like a 6 or so minute section that I'm really worried about, because it's the most crash heavy. But hopefully we get by unscathed. Don't know if that was enough zips. Okay, it was. Steps rather, not zips. So we're going to wait for the camera. Whenever the prince is doing a zip off screen, it's always helpful to make sure you have a zoomed in camera, because if you do, it's easier to tell when the prince is, gonna what do you call it? When he jumps, even though he's off the screen, because the camera changes, you'll know that he's jumped, and you can time the end of your rewind effectively. Dude, he teleported right in my way, and him. They're so rude. So this bit's kind of hard to do invisible. This bit's the rope physics in this game are really janky, like really janky. So doing this section with being invisible is sort of difficult. But if you do the right button presses, it's all okay. This section here, normally you'd activate the traps, but because we're just going to zip past everything, we don't care about traps. Traps are for the weak. Just going to walk straight over them and zip through this door. Nope, apparently we're going to face that way first for some reason.
Stay there. I'll come to you.
Don't know if I did enough steps there. Okay, I did, which is lovely. It's always really nerve-wracking when you're doing zips with the invisible prince, because you can't see his legs, which means you just have to trust yourself that you've made enough steps rather than actually seeing that he's made the steps. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, hopefully it doesn't crash. If I aim it incorrectly, it will crash. So I'm going to make sure I aim specifically to the right. So, unfortunately, very, very soon, I'm going to have to say goodbye to the invisible prince. What we're going to do is we're going to turn this lever right here, because when it's finished turning, we get a checkpoint so that we can reload. And as you can see, the hallway there isn't loaded. So to get the normal prince back, we're just going to roll out of bounds. Retry, and we'll be back, and the corridor will be loaded. That was a bit of an odd way to zip. I don't know why I did it that way, but it worked nonetheless. So this is the zip that I'm really scared about. So if this doesn't crash, I'm going to be very, very happy bunny. Just have to cross my fingers. Okay, we've not crashed. Thank the Lord. Oh man, you don't know. my heart was beating so fast. So this is also another place where their crashes are really common. I did one too many steps there. That might actually put me out of bounds. We will see. If it does, I'll have to restart the section. Let's pray to the Lord. Okay, thank... However, it doesn't ever seem to get better, does it? So now, even though I've skipped 2 possible crashes, this trick that I'm about to do is really hard to do on controller. So I'm going to need to serious mode it up. Just going to wait a bit to make sure none of my previous movements are interfering. So there's a bit of a weird connection of movements. I'm going to fast rewind all of this, and hopefully, if I've done it correctly... Yes! Yes, that's a really hard zip to do.
Wait, let's see where this corridor goes.
Oh, I'm so happy that worked. Thank God. Okay, so we kill ourselves because obviously, as you saw, the corridor wasn't loaded. Let's do this correctly this time. It's a bit weird. I don't know why the traps have... Normally the traps shouldn't have triggered because I didn't move that far forwards, but it doesn't really matter at all. Just need to dodge them as opposed to running over them mindlessly.
There you go.
Which can be quite hard. I'm going to wait for them. So how many rewinds have I got at the moment? I've got 3 rewinds. Okay. It's
I'll meet you on the other side of that gate.
Careful.
You be careful.
I checked out the IMDb page for the voice actor of the Prince. He has been in so many things. He's like, pretty much if you name any like AAA title with a lot of like additional voices, he's like a professional additional voice man. Don't know why. Just gonna hump the wall. We've not humped a wall in a while. Okie dokie. That was actually a really fast one. So, because we're too fast for the game, we actually the scarabs spawn into being while you're looking at them. Okay, so coming up is one of, well, to be fair, it's pretty much the hardest, but it's not hardest because of skill level. When you're doing this on controller, there is some timing element towards the trick that I'm about to do, but a lot of it has to hope that you get the correct the correct wall run as well as the correct angle. There's a lot that goes into it, basically. Oh, dude, that guy walked right where I need to be. So don't really... That's like pretty much the only RNG in the run anymore. There used to be a ton back when it was run in like 2011, 2012. Like fighting enemies as well as, you know, just moving around enemies in general. As well as stuff like mess hall skip was... That's an old skip I'm not going to explain, but it was very RNG based. Whereas now... the only RNG is pretty much just the enemy placements, which can still mess you over, but you know, at most you'll lose a couple of seconds. So this is quite a long cutscene, so if there is any donations, don't know if there is.
Yeah.
You're excited.
Okay, we've got a $1 donation from JD Harlequin. Hennico, there's Dwayne Johnson behind you. And we've got a further $1 donation from also JD Harlequin. Joe, you're welcome. In sellout Joe, we trust. Read it whole, please. Smiley face.
Thank you, Harlequin.
And we have one further donation from Tokoloni1, Who is that handsome guy to the left of Joe? Oh yeah, it's the famous speedrunner Sphere MJ. P.S. He is a lying Ferengi. Much love.
So I probably should actually talk about some of the other runners of this game, because basically it's been actually one of the most fun experiences that I've had. I'm actually going to have to postpone that talk a little bit because I'm going to have to concentrate pretty hard here, honestly. Let me just make sure that I'm going to do this correctly, and then I will continue. So if I fail this, I'm not going to try it again. Yeah, if I fail this, I'm not going to try it again, because it's honestly just too difficult on controller to do consistently. Oh, that is so unlucky.
No.
So yeah, unfortunately, I'm not going to try it again. But that was that was very unlucky. The timing was good, but I think the height of my wall run was incorrect. So unfortunately, the prince still classed himself as falling down, even though he was obviously right next to the floor. It's no problem. It's a very hard skip to do. At one point, that was the only way to do that skip, and everyone hated it. That's odd. I've never fallen. Well, I have done that before, but not often. There we go. That's the intended route. So yeah, no, as I was saying, ever since the glitch was found back in February, there's been a bunch of guys. Me, Sphere MJ, Tokoloni1, Epic Dude Guy, Asko, also Hinafu, as well as Catalysts. It's been really great, basically just breaking the game as much as possible. Because there was so much that we didn't know about zips at first. There was a point when, you know, the wall humping move that I'm about to do now, there was a point where that was the only known method. So we knew nothing about, you know, the sword attacks making it go different distances or anything like that. So those were dark times. You had to think of very, very inventive ways to skip things.
Heneko, I've got one more donation.
Yep.
We have $25 from Smash Blue.
Oh.
Joe, awesome job so far. We're all rooting for you on TBP.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Smash.
A torture chamber.
Big spender.
It was the first time I
1,
had
2, 3,
seen
4.
such devices
1, 2, 3,
at close
4.
range, close enough to touch. Where
So I only did 18 movements there, because I don't want the prince to move, or at least move as minimally as possible. So, because I want him to jump directly upwards. And that almost went. That was very. I almost held rewind down for too long there, but I didn't. Because obviously, this is a great run. Although to be fair, I won't. Actually, no. I'm not going to say that. I'm going to jinx myself if I say the run's going okay. But you know, it is.
We have a $1.69 donation from I Cry When I Wee.
Nice.
Hi Joe, good run so far. I don't even know when to type runded. Also, I'm disappointed you didn't bring your ukulele.
I did bring my ukulele, but obviously I'm not going to bring it to the running desk. But thank you, Jonas. Thank you very much. So this zip that I'm going to do now, I have to hope that the enemies don't get in my way. Which it doesn't look like they're going to. I think I did enough steps there. I did. So we go very, very far, because obviously there's a huge, long section. I don't know why I picked up that, honestly. There's obviously just a very long straight, which means we can do roll zips. Roll zips are a zip that goes very fast and very far. So because we left Farah behind, the game gets confused and it deloads the area that she was in, so she just falls into the floor immediately.
No.
Does her little Farah dance. Interesting. I didn't walk far enough into the cutscene, I guess. That's okay. That's a little bit odd, I will be honest, but hopefully it's not too bad. So I actually missed out on one of the roll zips there. So I'm gonna be a little bit more brave this time. I don't need to pick up. It's gonna pick it up again. I was attracted to the sand cloud. So I'm gonna go a little bit further. I guess I didn't walk far enough into the cutscene to get the checkpoint trigger. So the game will game over now. Hopefully. At some point in the future. Maybe. I guess not. Okay, I'm going to have to game over it myself and then reload Farah. Because Farah does need to be here. Otherwise, when I get to the top of this elevator, the game will crash anyway. The game will game over anyway. I didn't do enough to zip. Does anybody else know what's going on? Because I don't. But she should run. There we go. There she is. She's finally doing what she's meant to do, which is not mess up my runs. Although to be fair, that's mostly me, but we can blame her if we want. So I'm going to do something quite interesting here. I'm going to jump 3 times. It'll become apparent why in a second. Basically, we need to get to the top of this elevator. But what we do is we deload the area first, like so, and then this zip will load the elevator. Hopefully, the top of the room, which it did, which is fantastic. Because Farah's not up here with us, and we need her to be up with us, we're going to take a save here.
Done. I'll start the story from here next time.
And when we finally regain consciousness, which for some reason he always loses consciousness when he saves, don't really know why. It's not ever explained. We're just going to drop down and kill ourselves because when we respawn. Also, if we didn't do that, when we get to the top of this hourglass, there is a cutscene trigger, and if we don't kill ourselves and reload the room, then it doesn't activate. So now we've got a 2-minute and 40-second cutscene, which isn't skippable unfortunately. So we just get to chill out, I guess. I think I was saying earlier that the game developers must have got really lazy at this point, because after this section, as you'll see in a second, they just black out, and the only animation on the screen is you just have their voices in the background and some sparkly dust, and that goes on for about 2 minutes.
Can I interject?
Yes, of course you can. This is
I have a brief announcement from RoboSparkle for the benefit of anyone attending the event but not currently at the venue. Everyone who is taking part in the mystery races needs to head to the main room for the qualifiers.
Ooh.
I also have 2 further donations.
Yep, you can go.
I have $1 from Zach. Hi Joe, how are the Swedish babes? And another 50 cents from Tokoluni. Could the real fingers to hand please wave into the camera for me? Also, blue shirt guys love, blue shirt guy is life.
Lovely. Yeah, there is literally no better time for donations than right now. There is nothing on the screen. And in fact, after this nothingness that we're experiencing, we get to experience the most thrilling gameplay of all time. I'm sure you'll agree once it finally gets to it, if it ever gets to it. This does drag on for a very long time. I think it's about to end. I think. Maybe. Possibly. Any moment now. Surely. Come on. I can't hear the audio, so I don't actually know. I can't actually hear when they're finishing. It's not very loud.
Childish thing about
Does this seem unusually long to you? This does seem unusually long. I have never... Oh no, there we go. So I guess it was just taking its time, or maybe it seemed longer because there was no dialogue that I could hear. So basically, now we're going to do this, and we're going to do this. And then that's it. I can look directly. I can do this. I can do this behind my back. There's literally nothing more engaging than holding 2 directions on a control stick. Why they felt the need for this, I will never know. I don't think anyone knows. I don't think even they know. Pretty much because Ubisoft. I think that's a good enough explanation. So when we get to the bottom, we're going to take a safety checkpoint because I'm a little bit scared. I'm a scaredy cat. Actually, how many rewinds do I have at the moment? Okay, I have 3. So we can float on mid-air there.
Where are you?
So yeah, we just need to watch this 10-15 second cutscene.
Isn't what beautiful? Where are you?
You know, it's a pretty good marathon strat, honestly, because if we mess up this zip now, we'll just respawn there. So hopefully I don't get this wrong. Okay. So that might be a bit too far forward, but normally we'd have to do a very tedious puzzle where we'd have to basically follow Farah's voice around a lot of magical doors, but we don't need to do that because we can just zip absolutely miles away. The trigger for this, funnily enough, was loaded, which means that we're able to zip to it, which is honestly fantastic because it does, I think, save 1 minute 10 if I remember, but I can't. I don't know. I'm not going to say that in confidence, but it saves. The point is that it saves a decent chunk of time over the intended route. Just going to break this down. Maybe if the. Come on, Prince. Come on, you can do this. There we go. Because we're not meant to be breaking it like that at this point, the game does get sort of confused. So this is a zip found by the lovely Sphere J. So hopefully that goes okay. I think I did enough. I think I did enough movements. Yeah, I did. Should be good. Oh, that's a little bit dodgy, but we might pop out the floor. I guess I let go too early. I'm really hoping that we can pop out of the floor here. If not, then we'll unfortunately have to do this section. Hey, so that's really lucky. That's basically entirely luck.
I have a $2 donation from 7Eraser7. Joe, I hope you fail the Vizier since you didn't bring the ukulele.
Aww.
Joke, love you and destroy this game.
Okay. Thanks, Eraser. Eraser also, he's actually, Eraser was one of actually when I started running the game back in December time, he was one of the few that were actually still running it.
I also have another 50 cents from JD Harlequin saying, someone bring Joe his ukulele for the ending theme cutscene. By the way, Toka still secretly loves you.
I don't think it's a secret. Toka has made no secret of his love. But thank you very much, JD. So we're going to zip over this cutscene here. Now it's very important. It's very important that we do zip over this cutscene because it's very important that we do. If I mess up on these end game, on this last section of the game, if I mess up, then it's going to be very bad because we actually lose the ability to zip because we shouldn't have the dagger. That's interesting. We shouldn't have the dagger at this point. So the game, when we reload the checkpoint, you know, all of a sudden it gets rid of our dagger, which is bad. So I always get scared with this one. So I went a little bit safe there. Hopefully this is still okay. It's not going to be if I don't. Oh, it's okay. That was intended. I did it just to, you know, add a bit of excitement and drama to the run. Actually, I need to. Yeah, there we go. If I'd have jumped one more time there, that would have actually been very, very bad for me. But it's okay.
We have an anonymous $10 donation just saying keep up the good work.
Thank you. You too. So I need to stand a bit over this way so that I have a bit of room. Because I'm about to do 2 awkward zips, which is the name for this type. That should be enough steps there. I think I actually did 20. If I okay, yeah, we're going to be good. Going to have to backtrack a little bit. It's a bit high. I don't know how that didn't kill me. I honestly don't know. But that's okay, because it worked and was completely intended. So I've got 2 sands here, which is all I need. We're going to do our final wall hump of the game. Sad, I know. It's pretty cool. This was discovered by Tokoloni, the one that's been sending in the donations. So these enemies spawn at you when you go through here, but when hello, when you jump out of the wall, they stop following you, and I don't really know why, but they do. I'm just going to make sure that I'm under the bridge here. I am. So I'm going to do a straight zip upwards. Is that too high? Nah, of course it's not. So we are drawing to the very, very end, and I think, if I'm correct, yes, I am correct. That is the last zip of the game. Oh, I actually need to kill myself here, don't I? Because otherwise it's not loaded. I would get to the top of the pole that I'm about to climb, and it wouldn't be loaded. But that's okay because the checkpoint's right there, which is really handy.
JD Harkin has donated another 50 cents to PayPal. A great run, Joe. You have really been practicing. The whole Prince of Persia community is proud. Also, where was your burger during the burger cutscene? From Catalyst Z.
Thank you, Catalysts. Yeah, no, normally the really long cutscene where nothing was happening, I generally make a burger during that cutscene, just because it's like a really good Rustler's burger interval. It's like 2.5 minutes, which gives you time to, eat the burger as well as cook the burger, because Rustler's burgers are 60 seconds. Does that count as advertisement? Product placement? Probably. So this is unfortunately where we have to say goodbye to Farah. You get to see the best blood graphic you've ever seen in your entire life. Look at that. It's one singular colour. They didn't even try. He just spilled acrylic paint on his hand. See you later, Farah. No one's really that upset about Farah dying. She ruins too many runs to get too upset.
Tokoloni has donated another 50 cents, saying, let's ship Tokoniko. Love.
That's lewd. Okay, so this is the final fight. Let's hope I don't die here. It is actually very, very easy to die here, because the game was designed with the prince actually picking up several... Oh, this is a bit risky. That's good though. It's good that he killed that, because it means I can retrieve sands, which means I get basically an extra try if I mess up. Yeah, so basically when you go through this game normally, the intended way is to pick up a lot of life upgrades, but we don't do that, obviously because it would be slow and we don't want to go slow. That does, however, leave us with basically 2 health. We can only be hit twice here. And you can't really, there's a fountain to drink water, but you can't really use it to get back your health. That's not too bad, because that's not a damaging attack. Like the one that they do that's really painful is the overhead one. Oh, that's a double kill, that's nice. And that was a triple kill, so that was actually really nice. That's quite fast. Just gonna wait these guys out. I'm gonna play this really safely because I'm very close to death. Just gonna wait for this guy to attack so I can hit him. There you go. And this guy. See you later. One more. Oh, not if I do that. That's okay though. That was just me not reacting quick enough. And the last guy, when he finally decides to get close enough. There you go. Last guy. Lovely jubbly. So that's the last fight before the very intense boss fight. So this is probably the best boss fight I've seen in any game ever. If you've seen games like God of War or Shadow of the Colossus, this is very on par with that sort of thing in that grand scale of epicness.
For your own safety, I suggest you flee.
Now I'm going to try and make the early cycle here. If I don't, it's quite hard to do on controller, so don't hate me too much.
I will handle this intruder.
I think that should go. I think I should do it. Oh, that's really unfortunate, but it's okay. It's not going to be too much of an issue. So we're just going to hump the wall instead. And hope that he doesn't hit us too much, which he's going to do, because he's a nasty man. Okay, so like I was saying, this is a super intense boss fight, because we go out here to the balcony. Get ready on time, by the way. And then we just zip straight upwards. And it triggers the credits. Time. Ah, that was nice, wasn't it? Oh! Oh, no, it's not. No, I thought...
That was like actually a 105.40.
Yeah.
I didn't split time.
That's okay. It's actually, I mean, that's a recorded PB. I've got a PB offline that's faster, but that's I've not got a video that's faster than that. So that's a pretty good run, honestly.
Especially time with video.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with how that went, honestly. So, I guess thanks everyone for watching. Shout outs to Kitty and Melis for sorry they couldn't be here to watch the run, but now you'll get to watch Cotty, and he is going to break probably his game is he's going to break his game more than I just broke that game. So it's going to be really exciting. So thank you everyone for watching. I have been Heneko, so thanks. Bye.